Let's assume you have some BNB on the Binance chain and you need to exchange it for Matic on the Polygon chain. Perhaps there's a new airdrop, a fresh NFT collection, or a higher yield on a new DeFi protocol on the Polygon network. Currently, there are two primary routes to facilitate such an exchange. The first and most obvious route is to conduct your coin swap through a centralized exchange.
I definitely personally hope centralized exchanges burn in hell as much as possible.
While it might have been acceptable for us crypto enthusiasts to use centralized exchanges to swap fiat for crypto in the past, but using centralized exchanges for a crypto-to-crypto swap in 2024 or beyond, with new blockchains emerging daily, the Web3 is in dire need of a decentralized bridge. There are so many amazing bridges in the real world, each with its absolutely astonishing and unique architecture and style. But how come there is only one type of cross-chain bridge in Web3? A centralized bridge with a single point of failure. If you want to bridge from Web3 utopia to Web3 reality and reclaim your rights of privacy, financial autonomy, and ownership, join the Ghost ecosystem by visiting chain.ghostchain.io. You can find all the necessary links in the video description below. Let's take a step back. In 2009, the Bitcoin network was launched. Bitcoin was created as a decentralized network with three major actors: a sender of transactions, a receiver of transactions, and a miner who validates these transactions. Bitcoin is considered decentralized because any user can act as a sender, a receiver, and a miner. I don't need Satoshi's permission to join the Bitcoin network in any role. Ethereum brought additional innovation by introducing smart contracts. With Ethereum, you still have the same dynamics. A sender sends a transaction to a receiver with miners validating the transaction. With the addition of a new developer role who can deploy smart contracts, Ethereum introduced a new dynamic. A sender can send a transaction to a smart contract, which may in turn trigger a transaction to be sent to the receiver and or back to the sender, all validated by a network of miners. And again, I can be a sender, a receiver, a developer, or a miner. And I don't need Vitalik's permission to join the Ethereum network in any role. With such legacy from Web3 preaching decentralization, why would you build centralized bridges? Of course, that's not what they claim. While centralized exchanges openly acknowledge their lack of decentralization, the centralized bridges stubbornly persuade the community that they are decentralized. Let's start with the wormhole bridge, which was already hacked for $325 million back in February 2022. You would think they learned their lesson after losing so much money. And they did. From the Wormhole's official website. At the core, Wormhole is secured by a network of Guardian nodes that validate and sign messages. If a supermajority, e.g. 13 out of 19, what? The Guardian network is currently secured by a collection of 19 of the world's top validator companies listed here. You just can't make this up. It is not even about relying on only 19 trusted validators to control all of your funds. The most critical question is, can you become one of those 19 validators? And of course, the answer is no. Next up is the Ronin Bridge, which was hacked for a hefty $624 million back in March 2022. The reason for the hack was social engineering, which compromised the majority of 9 validators required to approve transactions on the bridge. They had to learn, right? And they did. Now you can become a validator on the Ronin chain. Huge improvement. They must be decentralized, right? Except that there is a concept of a governing validator. Governing validators are chosen by the community and Skymavis to ensure network security, and they account for more than half of the total validator set. Let's go through the VC sweethearts of Axelar and Layer 0. Starting with Axelar, while the first 5 pages of Google search will all scream how Axelar is the most decentralized thing since Bitcoin, let's find the gems which are completely forgotten and abandoned. Did you know that Axelar can stop the bridge without governance or validator support? What's even more interesting is the poll under the post, where 1/6 of the respondents simply don't care about it. It is not Axelar that built a centralized piece of software. It is the 16% of respondents who preferred the perceived comfort of a simpler user experience over the true freedom, independence, and autonomy achievable with Web3. Since XLR uses an upgradable Solidity contract, a multisig can replace the contract and change the rules at any time. So 4/8 members of the anonymous multisig directly control all funds. Last but not least, Layer 0, also known as Zero Decentralization, has raised an impressive $293 million in funding from top VCs to date. When has this ever posed a risk for decentralization?
I get in a lot of trouble for saying this.
Or among friends,
I
it's
think
okay.
90% of investors add no value. In my assessment, 70% of investors add negative value to a company.
In September 2023, Layer 0 announced partnership with Google Cloud as a default oracle. Do they even understand what decentralization is? How did we end up like this? Despite rich Web3 legacy, why do we still have so many subpar centralized bridges? I believe it's happening for the following 3 reasons. First of all, almost all bridges receive substantial funding from VCs. Another reason is that teams often lack competence. They fail to grasp the true meaning of decentralization and mistakenly label any system with more than one validating node as decentralized, which reflects their lack of understanding. However, it is likely that many of these projects engage in deliberate deception of investors and users. They label their platforms as decentralized while exposing users to various risks of losing their funds. Such deceptive practices should be penalized by the Web3 community and possibly regulated by authorities to ensure genuine adherence to Web3 principles. Please provide your perspective in the comments on why most bridges are centralized. Despite the fact that all major bridges are centralized, the bridge volume is increasing month over month to reach almost $1 trillion by 2030 based on Ghost projections. What can we as Ghost community do about it? First of all, understand that a true decentralized bridge is the one where anybody can validate bridge transactions and anybody can monetize bridge transactions. Secondly, contribute to making Ghost a Web3 bridging standard by familiarizing yourself with the Ghost ecosystem, joining the Ghost community, and operating a Ghost validator. In Ghost, we trust.